literally being on stage.
It is.
Literally on stage. Thank you. I didn't memorize my lines, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. Boo, thanks for booing, by the way. My name is Brad Caskey, and I am the Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs at Birmingham Civil College. It is my distinct pleasure to invite you here and have you here today for today's Provost Forum. Today's event is focused on a BSc theater production, Never Have I Ever, What is Body Image, which was made possible by a new partnership with the Farm Theater, a New York-based organization, and playwright Jan Rosenberg. The play, which has never been seen on stage, explores addictive behaviors around food and body image. Conversations about the topic actually began last May with the playwright and BSc students. And this production, which opens Thursday, is student-directed, student-created, student-designed, and student-managed, and that's really impressive. At a personal level, I've actually supervised student research on eating disorders, on student body image in women, and exercise and anorexia, so I have a great personal interest in this particular production. At this point, it's my pleasure to turn the stage over to Dr. Alan Litsey, who's been on staff since 1991, currently professor of theater arts. He'll tell us more about Never Have I Ever in this unique theater midterm project. Please join me in welcoming Alan to the stage.
Thank you, Provost Caskey. Eating disorders affect people of all ages and are especially prominent among college-age people. And our goal in presenting this play about eating disorders is to support awareness and discussion within our community. So we want to get started this morning with the opening scene of the play. In this scene we meet Callie, played by Stephanie Lee, and Dr. Gale, a counselor on campus who meets with Callie on a regular basis, played by Isabella Alday. And we learn that Callie is missing scheduled appointments with her doctor and that she's struggling.
I don't want to lecture you, Callie.
Then don't.
You missed 2 medical appointments in a row.
I forgot.
Twice.
I'm juggling a lot here, and I'm doing a pretty damn good job of keeping my shit together, if I do say so myself. So I don't understand why I'm in trouble.
You're not in trouble.
So you're just casually warning me that I might get kicked out of school.
No one has said anything about you leaving school.
But that's what you're implying, right? I know this game. I've been there, remember? Fucked up so badly last time.
You didn't fuck up.
Are you allowed to curse?
I'm just parroting what you said.
I just want my life back, but
When we started seeing each other earlier this semester, we had an agreement.
it was just 2 doctor's appointments. That doesn't mean I'm in relapse. Can't you throw me a bone here? I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do.
You know that your remaining at school this semester is dependent on you making those appointments. That's your end of the bargain. You come here, you go to the doctor. It's 2 hours out of your week.
I had a brain fart. I'm preoccupied. I really let my GPA drop. I can't let it do that again.
If you're taking on too much, then maybe...
I'm fine. Most people have crazy schedules. It's what makes me normal. I don't want special treatment. I feel like I'm being punished for pushing myself just as the rest of everyone.
Everyone else hasn't been through what you've been through.
I'm in recovery. I'm eating 3 meals a day and snacks. You want me to prove it to you? Here, I brought a snack. You used to never keep food on me before.
You don't need to convince me.
I'll eat the whole thing right now. You want to watch? Alert the media. I've eaten of the forbidden fruit.
I don't think this is something you take lightly, let alone joke about. And I know you know that. Strangely, you've never forgotten one of our appointments.
Maybe it's because I get to keep my clothes on in here, and I don't get poked and prodded like a prize pig.
So you intentionally missed those appointments.
That's not what I'm saying! Just fucking hate it. There's nothing more humiliating than having your weight checked every week. It's the worst feeling in the world.
Is it worse than the state you were in when you had to leave your last school?
I'm sorry. Am I not allowed to express a healthy emotion?
I'm not trying to diminish your feelings. I'm trying to give you some perspective. I know this is uncomfortable, but this is part of the journey.
I wish people would stop comparing recovery to some type of journey or magical quest. This isn't a fairy tale.
Do you have a better metaphor?
Yeah. What level of hell in Dante's Inferno is it where you're dying of thirst and then there's a lake right fucking there, but you just can't get to it?
I haven't read Dante, but I'm pretty sure you're thinking of Tantalus. He was Zeus's son. His punishment was having to stand in the middle of a lake with a branch ripe with fruit hanging over his head. Whenever he bent to drink, the water would drain away. Whenever he tried to reach the fruit, the branches rose higher.
And you just know that, randomly.
I studied Greek mythology in college.
And then you became a therapist?
I had a change of heart.
I'll bet. Those Greek gods were pretty unforgiving. What'd he do? Zeus's son. What was he being punished for?
He tricked the gods into eating his son.
Like you do. Maybe my eating disorder will evolve into cannibalism.
All right, let's reel it back in. We're out of time.
I won't miss any more appointments, I promise.
You're not going through any of this because you did something wrong, Callie. Having to get weekly physicals isn't a reflection of some failure on your part. We're all on your side.
I know.
Any weekend plans?
I was thinking of having a staring contest with a sandwich. Kidding.
Try and enjoy yourself. Maybe reach out to one of your neighbors.
Maybe. Since we keep talking about the fury of the gods, earlier when I said the thing about the forbidden fruit, you thought I was joking, but I wasn't trying to be funny. You just missed the point.
What was the point?
Eve took a bite of the apple. Everyone warned her that she wouldn't be able to handle it as if she were some fragile thing. But Eve made a choice to take the first bite, even though everyone was trying to mansplain her out of it. It took guts for her to do that. She was brave as fuck, and she should get more credit.
You're right. She should.
It's a great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Leslie Plaia, who is an alum of the college. And I had the privilege to work closely with Leslie while she was here, and we even taught a class together. You're a wonderful teaching fellow. Leslie is a licensed professional counselor and indeed a specialist in eating disorders. Please give a warm welcome to Leslie Plaia.
Thank you so much. I have to sit down so I won't pass out on you. And in true millennial fashion, my notes are on my phone, so I apologize. One of the things that I love about the show, and I was so happy that Alan asked for me to be a part of it, is that it really provides a different conversation about eating disorders and body image. So when you think of eating disorders, what kind of stereotypes come to mind? Throw some out.
Cancer's disease.
Cancerous disease. What else? What types of people have eating disorders?
Women. Women.
Women. Okay. What else?
People who are afraid about their body image?
People who are afraid of body image. Sure. Okay. Anything else?
Athletes.
Dancers, athletes. What else come to mind? One of the things that I have heard from clients most frequently is that you have to be thin in order to have an eating disorder. It's simply not true. Eating disorders come in all shapes and sizes. And something that I think is really important about this show is that it talks about that. Not in a after-school special sort of way, but the way that the characters are represented. So something to think about also is that along with the eating disorders in this show, there are a lot of different addictive behaviors that are portrayed. So excessive drug use, excessive drinking, which for college students, it's pretty normalized right now. So everybody else is doing it, so it must be okay. That happens in the diet community too. So let me ask you this. How many of you have ever been on a diet? Okay. How many of you have used one of those apps to track your calories? Okay. How many of you have been on a really strict exercise plan? Depends on what strict is. Okay. How many of you have skipped a meal? Okay. How many of you have tried one of those like crazy trendy diets where you only drink lemonade or cayenne pepper or something off the wall? Hey, there you go. So what's happened in our body-obsessed culture right now is that there is such an emphasis and focus on being thin. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, there's also this wonderful body positive movement. But what tends to happen is if you're body positive, it means that you're unhealthy. If you're thin, it means that you're healthy, which is just garbage. Doesn't make sense whatsoever. So what's been happening now is that these behaviors that tend to actually be unhealthy are normalized. So when I talk about disordered eating or eating disorder behaviors, I'm talking about restricting. So that looks like completely skipping meals. It also looks like limiting yourself to specific types or kinds of food. So a lot of times, unless you have a medical reason, gluten-free is a type of restriction. Or if you're doing no type of carbs whatsoever, that's another type of restriction. You also have something called compensatory behaviors, and so that looks like purging, so throwing up after meals. Also looks like excessive exercise, which, funny enough, excessive exercise is defined as more than 6 hours of activity a week. So for those of you who are going to the gym every single day for an hour, something you might want to keep in check. Compensatory behaviors are also laxative use and diet pills as well. Then we've got binge eating, which when we think of eating disorders, I think a lot of times we think of anorexia and bulimia, but binge eating disorder does exist as well. It's newer in the DSM, but it is something that is an epidemic in the country as well, but it doesn't get the same attention as some of the other eating disorders do. And so a binge is described as eating an amount of food that is not typical for that person. Sometimes that's going to vary depending on the individual, but then you can look at something like, okay, eating an entire pizza by yourself, okay, eating 2 gallons of ice cream. Okay, so we got to check in on that a little bit. So what's happened now, though, is that, and I keep using the word normalized, we've normalized this obsession with food and this obsession with being thin, this obsession with being healthy, and that oftentimes the health word masks unhealthy behaviors. So say you have 2 individuals who both of them are weighing themselves 3 or 4 times a day. Both of them are using calorie counter apps to track their food. Both of them are exercising every day, probably about an hour to an hour and a half. And both of them will regularly skip meals, okay? So 2 people. Now imagine one of them looks emaciated and the other one is slightly overweight. What happens in this culture now is that the person who is emaciated has a problem, but the person who is slightly overweight is taking care of themselves. What kind of message is that? Is literally the same types of behaviors, but because somebody's body type looks different, it's acceptable. This also happens with a lot of the trendy diets that are out right now, We talked about this when we met as a company. So things like Whole30. So everybody's obsessed with this keto and Whole30 craze. The thing about Whole30 is it's an elimination diet. The focus of it is to help individuals figure out what types of food are irritating their systems, whether it's causing migraines, any type of digestive disturbances, if it's causing high blood pressure, whatever. But what happens is people use these for weight loss. And because they do, it becomes this celebrated thing. Same with being keto. Our bodies are not meant to be deprived of certain nutrients on a daily basis. Now, some people can't help it. If you legitimately have celiac disease, okay. But not everybody does. Oh, I'm gluten-free because this pasta I ate one time upset my stomach. That's not exactly how it works. But because these types of behaviors are celebrated, it's okay. Oh my gosh, you have so much control. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't eat that. Well, we've also now demonized types of food. We've put them in these categories of good foods and bad foods, where we really need to look at this concept of all foods fit. And that's one of the things that I think the play gets right. I laughed about, I think one of the characters eats a Pop-Tart. My clients hated eating Pop-Tarts in treatment, but that's one of the things that we talked about. You can eat a salad and grilled chicken, and you can eat a Pop-Tart. It's okay. It's looking at this idea of all foods fit. Everything can work in moderation. But what's problematic is when you have a voice that is trying to portray good and trying to help others redefine their relationships with food, the issue is that society's voice tends to be louder, unfortunately. This idea of you have to be this way, you have to be that way. And like I mentioned earlier with this idea of, okay, the body positive people are sometimes looked at as unhealthy, that's the same in general with eating disorders. So a lot of times people in treatment will say, I don't look sick enough. There are people that I have met who, when you look at them, they have six packs, they have incredible musculature, and they look normal, whatever that means. I don't know what that means, so whatever it means to you. They don't look unhealthy, who are literally about to die because their electrolytes are off, their systems are so imbalanced that their hearts could give out at any second. But that's healthy, right? But somebody who is overweight, they can't possibly have an eating disorder. They can't possibly be sick enough. And then there are individuals who typically look normal, and there's no way that they could be sick. They don't look bad enough. Sick doesn't have a size. It doesn't. It has to do with your internal systems. It has to do with this internal system up here. Because any type of behavior, whether it's an eating disorder behavior, whether it's another addictive behavior like excessive drug use or alcohol or cutting or sex or whatever it might be, it all starts up here. Maladaptive behaviors are used as coping mechanisms because for some people, they don't know how to cope in a way that's constructive or healthy. It becomes about how do I suppress? How do I forget? How do I numb? How do I control? Whatever it might be for that person. And we see a lot of that in the play, which I think, one of the things that I said when we all met was, gosh, it really gets it right. It gets it right in so many different ways. Because think of how many students, not to scare you, but how many students are popping Adderall fistfuls before classes or drinking every single night. I went here. Okay. I'm in recovery. I remember. I get it. So the problem is, though, it's college. Everybody's doing it. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. Same with these diets. So in the play, and I'm not going to ruin a lot of it, so Megan, give me like the look if I am. There's one character who regularly does juice cleanses. I don't know if we actually see her eat. Other people eat around her, but I'm not sure if we see her eat. And she goes to multiple spin classes a day. Nobody says anything. Nobody says anything. And those are clear eating disorder behaviors. Now, whether or not she believes she has an eating disorder, that's a whole other can of worms. But she's exhibiting behaviors that are very unhealthy. And instead, somebody else is being demonized. Because this person looks this way. This person has already been diagnosed with this problem. So how this gets different is by each and every one of us figuring out what our own biases are with food and with body image and what our beliefs are. And if you believe, okay, only white college-aged women have eating disorders, do some research on that. That is not true. Eating disorders do affect people of color. Eating disorders do affect men. Maybe not at the same rates as females, as white females, but it's still there. And figuring out, where did your concept of food and body image come from? Mine came from my mom. And hers came from her mom, which came from society. Thin is in. So figuring out, okay, where did I get this message? And does it really jive with the things that I believe about myself? Do I really want to be on a diet for the rest of my life? Case in point, so I'm currently 37 weeks pregnant. At about 30 weeks pregnant, I started getting emails from the different apps that I use, baby tracker apps and stuff, about how to lose the baby weight. Mm-hmm. At 30 weeks, the baby is not even here. I just want to, it's not even here. But that's what has happened in our culture. Or somebody asking me, how much have you gained during your pregnancy? Okay, well, and if I feel comfortable, I will tell that person, oh, that's going to be really easy to get off. That's what society has done. And so figuring out, how do we have these conversations very differently with our parents, with our children, with our colleagues, and saying, you know what, maybe I don't know all there is to know about this. Maybe I do need to educate myself. Maybe I need to change the compliments that I give to people. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, you look so thin, like, I really like how your makeup's done. Did you lose weight? Don't ask that. Don't ask that. There are other things that we can focus on. The people that you are friends with probably has nothing to do with their size and shape. So can you give them affirmations that don't have to do with body image? And when you see this show, I think my hope is that there will be these questions that are spurred in you that you haven't really thought of before. Because more often than not, people that I speak with, they don't realize how many eating disorder behaviors they're using or how many addictive behaviors they're using because it's normalized. Like the example I gave earlier, if everybody in a friend group is drinking every single night, it's normal. Everybody else is doing it, so it must be okay. And when we do that, when we have that mindset, it becomes really dangerous, because then we miss when people need help. Or we don't want to ask for help, because then it becomes, oh, I don't want to be this person because I can't handle my liquor, or because it went too far with food, whatever it might be. So we need to have a different conversation about that. And it starts with all of you in this room. It starts with reframing your beliefs about body image. It starts with reframing your beliefs about addiction and what an addict looks like. Because an addict looks like each and every one of us. We're all addicted to something. So those are the things that I think moving forward is how we affect change. And if we can commit to even just changing a little bit of how we talk to ourselves and how we talk to others, then maybe we can see a difference in this body image and food-obsessed culture that we have. So, thank you.
so much, Leslie. We're about to see the third scene in the play. The student company, in collaboration with counselors Leslie and with Sara Hoover, have identified many issues the play raises, including that of self-image, objectification. In this scene, we meet Ariel, played by Abby Hinken, and Miranda, played by Charlotte Shorley. And we discover in the scene that Ariel has videotaped another student in the women's restroom in the act of purging. And her objectification and exploitation of this unidentified student is the basis for significant pain and conflict in the play. As our company has discovered, the character of Ariel invites us to raise questions about her life and family history and factors that can contribute to bullying and harmful behavior to others.
My shoes, do they look like they got splashed?
I'm traumatized.
Oh, me too, girl, me too.
People shouldn't be allowed to drink if they can't carry themselves like a proper lady.
Didn't you drunk her like last month?
Shut up. I got the whole thing on video.
You're savage. Why would you record that?
Well, it's not like you can tell who it is. I practically had to kneel on the stall floor.
Still, you're a little bit twisted.
Ever. It's funny.
Your sense of humor is like so extra.
How many likes do you think I'll get if I post it?
0. Why are we sharing this stall?
Because we had to pee, and I'm keeping you company, and that's what friends do.
Oh, I had to pee. Which reminds me, I still do. I got distracted by that chick puking.
This is your new Tinder pic.
Bitch, put that away! Seriously, I'm not even wearing any underwear.
Yeah, I was gonna say your bush looks like my older brother's armpit.
Haven't you heard? It's cool to be hairy down there again. Do not post that!
I'll just put it on Snapchat.
I will literally murder you.
You will, literally? What are you gonna do, strangle me with your pubic hair?
Oh my god. I'm so shit-faced. Oh, don't make me laugh. I'm gonna puke.
Do it! You'll be able to drink more.
Gross.
Oh, okay. Switch! Todd likes some of my pictures.
Are you in them?
What do you think?
I don't know. Sometimes I get like 80 notifications on my phone. And I think they must be really into me. And then all the pictures are of my dog.
Yeah, well, these aren't dog photos.
They're selfies. One woman's selfies, another woman's dog photos.
What the fuck does that even mean? Oh my god, Miranda, is that Coke?
Since when's Coke blue, dumbass?
I don't know, since Breaking Bad.
That's crystal meth. This is Adderall.
Oh. Girl, look, the toilet couldn't take it. You can still see the upchuck.
Thanks. I really needed to know that.
You want to know how you can tell the difference between puking because you're wasted and puking on purpose? Or is this for product placement?
Ew! Wash your hands!
I think there's a McFlurry in here.
I don't care. Stop talking about it.
Do you remember that bulimic girl who was on our floor freshman year? Toilets overflowed like every other week.
I'm trying really hard to forget.
Do you think she's still bulimic?
I hope not.
Have you ever made yourself do that?
Are you kidding me?
Don't tell me you haven't.
I would never.
Come on, you're such a liar.
Are you such a see you next Tuesday?
Don't get all salty. You seem like the kind of girl who would be bulimic.
What is that supposed to mean?
I'm not calling you fat.
Bitch, you better not be. Why do you care? Have you ever done it?
Once.
Seriously?
Okay, I was like 12, and it seemed like a good idea at the time, but it didn't even work, and I was so pissed. Well, consider yourself lucky. Oh, this Adderall's doing nothing for me. I took some earlier. This quick release is such bullshit. Who gave it to you? I shrank. Oh my god, really? Really? I actually have ADHD. You snort your prescribed ADHD medication? Bitch, that is so basic. Oh, don't tag me in that! I look like shit!
Such a pleasure to introduce my great friends and colleagues from Counseling and Health Services. Sara Hoover, who is Director of Counseling and Health Services, and Cara Blakes, who serves as counselor with Counseling and Health Services, and Yvette Spencer, who's Director of Health Services. Thank you so much for being here. And Sara, any specifics that folks should know about Counseling and Health Services? If they ever want to make an appointment with a staff member, there's a number they can call or they can drop in.
I'd love to stand up and say.
Yay!
Can we come up here
Please
too?
do.
See
Please come up.
Put faces and names, y'all. So, Alan, thank you so much for inviting us to be here. And again, my name is Sara Hoover. I'm Director of Counseling and Health Services. I'll let Cara and Yvette address or introduce themselves, if you would.
I'm Cara.
Cara, the other counselor. Okay.
And I'm Yvette.
And yes, as Alan said, a couple of things I want you to know. First of all, if you don't know, our office is on the second floor of Norton Campus Center, right next to Student Development Office. The Counseling and Health Services office is to your right if you're facing student development. If you ever feel the need or have friends who you would like to kind of encourage to come our way, you can come by our office, make an appointment. You can call. There's 4717, 226-4717 is the main office line. Currently, we're in a little transition with office coordinator, but we will get back with you if you call and make an appointment, or you can email us. We are available, full-time staff here at the college, and love working with students in various capacities. Therapists, nurse by trade, but we also work with students in a lot of other collaborative ways. And one of the ways that I'm just extremely grateful for is in working with the theater department over the years with Alan and Michael Flowers. And I just want to say thank you for the intentionality of the productions that they have put on over the years that have lifted up so many issues and concerns that we see every day and haven't talked about, some taboo topics. And so I just really applaud you all in the theater department. Had a great opportunity to meet with the cast and crew last week, and some really wonderful discussion coming out of that, of what are some of the underlying themes Leslie mentioned. Thank you so much for your comments. It's good to see you. And I love the college. But you know, so much, it was rich conversation with the students about, you know, what can we do? Not just what are some of the underlying issues that we have before us, but how can we do things that affect change, as you were mentioning, Leslie. So it was just a wonderful experience. So I applaud you all, and hope these seats are filled every night of production. But again, I know we weren't supposed to take any time, but I'm taking it anyway. But just please feel free to come by and see us. We'd love to chat with you. It doesn't have to be anything extreme. It can be anything under the sun that you just want some objective conversation about. Okay, so we'd love to meet with you. All right. Anything else?
What she said.
And stay close. Okay. Whatever.
Thank you, friends. Megan Pecot is a senior theater major, and I've had the privilege to work with Megan in so many ways. She is the director of this production is going to share a little bit with you about the process of directing a brand new play. Megan?
Hello everyone. I'm Megan Pecot, as Alan said, a senior theater arts major here. Let me start out by saying that this has been an incredible experience, and I'm so glad to have the chance to work on a completely new play for my senior project. Never have I ever started way back in July for me when I flew out to New York with Alan Litsey, Matt Milkey, and fellow student Brennan Martignoni. We spent 3 days collaborating with the Farm Theater and Jan Rosenberg, who was the playwright, and we had 8 actors from New York that read through the play, and we discussed each scene. Our goal was to help make sure that everything was clear and give any feedback. By the end of 3 days, scenes had been added, switched in order, a character had been removed, and dialogue had been edited. It was a very different play from when we had begun, and by the time I got the final draft in November, it had changed even more, which was a very cool thing to see the process of it changing over the months. Being able to help develop the play proved extremely valuable to me as a director. I knew more about what was in Jan's head and as she was writing it, and I had a better sense of characters and the world of the play. We've continued to be in contact, which has been helpful when I had questions about playwright intentions. After having worked on older plays or plays with very famous, writers, you can't always ask the author. Like we did The Tempest or Shakespeare, you can't really ask Shakespeare. So it was nice to know she was an email away. As I said in November, I got the final draft of the script we would be using, so then I was able to cast the show, which was just about the most terrifying thing I think I've done in theater. I know it's joked about that the director is more scared about the audition process than those auditioning, and although I cannot speak for those that auditioned for me, I know that I was a nervous wreck. But I sat there alone in this very room and I made my decisions. I'll never forget scrambling around down here trying to decide on scenes and pairings for callbacks. I had paper in all the seats and was running between them all trying to place everything. But by the end of the night, I had made my cast and I was ready for the next step. So my prep work over the end of last semester and through the holidays consisted of meeting with my designers and analyzing the script. I wrote out all sorts of blocking notes like entrances, exits, where they would be moving, especially in like the party scenes where there's a lot of actors on stage. But January 3rd, the start of Jan term, came very quickly, and although I was nervous, I felt prepared and ready to take it on. I had to overcome some nagging fears and replace them with the knowledge that this is my senior project and I've been working towards it since I stepped foot in this theater at the beginning of my freshman year. I could do this and I was ready for it. I knew that I was still learning too, and I'm sure I've made mistakes, but overall this has really solidified in me that I can walk out into the world at the end of this upcoming semester and I'll be just fine, and that's all I could really ask for. The nervousness vanished after about the second day when I started to fall into a rhythm working with my actors and the crew. And I assistant directed Trojan Women, so I was prepared for the duties of director, but it was quite a change to be really and truly in charge of everything. To put on a show in Jan term, we show up at 9:30 in the morning and we leave at 5:30 at night. Mornings for me consisted of talking with the tech crew to answer questions, approve any decisions, and plan for the afternoons. And the afternoons consisted of me working with the actors. We started out by running each scene and really discussing it. I made all the actors bring in biographies that they wrote of their characters, and we had a big discussion to help them connect with each other and the relationships between the characters as well as connect with their characters. We also had both Leslie Plaia and Sara Hoover come and talk to them, which was extremely helpful and helped, I think, give them more concrete knowledge to work with and incorporate into their characters. The whole process has gone actually very smoothly, and I'm very grateful to the company for working with me to make that happen. So overall, as a director, I've learned how to plan better so that each rehearsal is more productive. I've learned how to give better notes as well as when are best times to give notes to actors. I've learned to manage a show from a big picture perspective, which has been very valuable. Finally, I've reinforced my belief in the chair exercise, which is where you get 2 actors to sit in chairs and stare into each other's eyes as they say the lines, and that makes them really connect and listen to each other. And I myself even grown as an actor when I have to do that, but it really does work. So I'd like to thank my professors for trusting this production to me and giving me the chance to direct. And I'd like to thank the company for coming with me on this journey and being willing to work with me even as I am still learning. This is a very important show, and I hope it will start discussions on campus and in the community about eating disorders and addictive behavior, because the more open we are about these issues, the better we can come together to help people. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. The next scene in the play emphasizes that we don't really know what's going on with another person, as we're not living in their skin. So that assumption that we can make so-called funny comments is often very misguided and oftentimes a trigger for persons of something very painful. In this scene, a game of Never Have I Ever goes awry and triggers potentially very harmful actions. Actors featured in this scene include Aislinn Kane, Abby Henkin, Colton Hinderleiter, Stephanie Lee, Van Looney, Jackson Massey, Abby Riggs, and Charlotte Scholla.
Hey, bon appetit, motherfuckers! Yeah, I like Ew. One more time.
Ugh, you're insufferable.
This lighting makes me look like a bullfrog.
That's what filters are for, honey.
Is there something wrong with this slice?
It's fine.
Are you just going to eat the pepperoni?
Why do you care?
It's a pizza, not a puzzle.
Why don't you mind your own damn business?
Whoa, hostile.
Can I fucking eat or what?
I can't sit here and watch you waste a perfectly good slice of pizza. Are you seriously just going to eat the toppings?
Are you seriously gonna be the food police? Concentrate on your own fucking pizza.
I'm just messing with you.
How would you like it if I told you how many calories you just ate? How long it'll take you to burn that off? Why don't I stare at you like you're in a documentary and make exclamatory remarks about how little or much you just ate?
I wouldn't like it. Sorry. You're right. I forgot it's not PC to comments about girls eating.
You did not just say that. I expect a lot of people to say that, but not you. Females aren't the only species to feel self-conscious about themselves. In general, people just shouldn't comment on what other people are eating. You wouldn't catcall me on the street now, would you?
Of course not.
Then don't catcall my food.
Is that what I was doing?
Maybe you weren't aware of it, but it was making me feel real shitty.
I didn't mean to. I just thought it was kind of funny.
The way I eat my food isn't funny. Are we clear on that?
Yes. I'm sorry.
It's alright. It's just... see that shit all the time. The other day at work, this couple came in, and the boyfriend was saying how it was so cool that she was eating a panini in front of him. And if that wasn't bad enough, after they were finished, they shared a slice of cake. And he kept on saying, oh, I don't know where you put it all. I wanted to throw hot coffee on him. What people put into their bodies shouldn't be used for ammunition for shame or compliments. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes a lot of sense.
Hey, look! It's a Spin Master! This newbie is slaying it on the bikes. Have you looked at his ass? It's like made of steel. Hashtag jealous.
See, girls can do it to guys too.
Yeah, girls can do what to guys?
Objectify them.
Oh God, can we put a fork in this conversation? Because it is so done. I objectify all asses equally. Males, females, even doves.
I'm sorry, what the hell do you think you're doing?
Demonstrating a point.
Yeah? Take your point and shove it up your ass, bigot.
I am not a bigot. I marched to this year's Pride Parade.
Your country thanks you for your service.
Girl, just lighten up. Why Why so serious? Just have a fucking drink.
I'm good.
Ian?
I'll have a beer.
Give me a beer, bitches!
Miranda, is this you?
Where'd you find this video?
Are you kidding? It's been shared a shitload of times, and school was tagged. Pretty sure everyone that goes to school has seen this chick puke at least once or twice by now.
Jesus Christ.
So is this you?
No, it's not me. Why do you think that?
I'm playing detective. I'm gonna find out who it is.
Why?
So I can shut this video in people's faces and watch their reactions. I think I'll be able to tell by how they react. Based on yours, you're no longer on my list of suspects. Besides, I've never seen you get sick from drinking.
That person's not throwing up because they're drunk. They're purging.
Like the movie?
What?
It's a horror movie, The Purge. Every year in the United States, everyone is allowed to kill each other for 24 hours. Annual Purge. Awesome movie.
That person is making themselves sick. Purging means throwing up. Look at that McDonald's by the toilet.
Oh shit, you're right. Wow, gross. I didn't even know girls did this in real life. Well, this changes my investigation.
Give it a rest, detective dumbass.
In the criminal justice system, bulimia is considered especially heinous. The dedicated officials who investigate these bulimic felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Bulimic Victims Unit. These are their stories. Dun dun. You've got great aim, Muriel. That's you, right?
Do I look like I need to make myself throw up? And have you ever seen me eat McDonald's?
I admit, I haven't seen you come within 1 centimeter of a chicken McNugget. You're a chicken McRacist.
I am not a chicken... I am not a chicken McRacist. I am a vegan, you idiot.
Well, I'm gonna find out who it is.
Well, good luck with that.
I already wrote out Miranda as a suspect.
Yeah, Miranda doesn't get down on her knees for anything or anyone.
Oh, don't even think about spreading lies about me. My dad's a lawyer. We're playing Never Have I Ever.
What are we, 12?
It'll be like the Cards Against Humanity version of Never Have I Ever.
That sounds illegal.
That sounds dope as fuck.
Listen up, bitches. We're playing Never Have I Ever.
Remove your fingers from all orifices and raise them high in the air.
Oh, you guys look so cute. It's like we're having story time. Okay, so everyone's played this game before, right? Unless you grew up under a rock.
Alright, people, it goes like this. If you've done the thing, put your finger down. One finger. And we're not in middle school, so don't make it something stupid, like never have I ever kissed my dog on the lips.
You've totally done that.
This is dumb. Okay, woo! You're in! Woo! Alright, we'll go in a circle and I'll go first.
I want to go first. It was my idea.
Okay, God, go.
Never have I ever gotten a tampon stuck inside of me.
Gross!
Are you okay? Your eyes are super red.
It's from the smoke. I think I got a contact high.
Okay, guys, shut up. It's my turn now. Never have I ever gotten a DUI.
Technically, my dad talked to the cop and it went away.
Oh shit. I thought you meant IUD.
Okay, so...
Me next. Never have I ever been on birth control.
My turn? Never have I ever hooked up with someone in an attempt to deny my sexuality.
I think it's Callie's turn.
Never have I ever killed anyone and gotten caught.
Crap. Okay, never have I ever eaten dog shit.
Okay, enough with the dumb ones.
Some people love the taste of dog shit.
You would.
Never have I ever owned a house.
Never have I ever gotten a divorce. Never have I ever owned a horse.
It's not fun if the stakes are low.
Never have I ever gone back in time to kill Adolf Hitler. Never have I ever ended world hunger.
Okay, Callie, Ian, and Dub, you are officially out of turns.
I'll behave, I promise. Give me another chance.
Fine, but make it interesting.
Never have I ever made fun of someone because of their problems.
Really, Callie? You've never laughed at someone acting like a total spaz?
No.
You must have, at least when you were little.
Okay, who's next?
I think it's me. Never have I ever been blackout drunk.
I'm gonna run out of fingers real quickly.
Never have I ever exchanged sexual relations for a gym membership. You wanted to make it more interesting.
Fine. Never have I ever convinced myself I was pregnant after trying it in the butt.
There's more to that story.
Hey, wow, lady, you sure you don't want to just have it out right here? We can clear the furniture. Just don't break anything from IKEA.
Look, I'm fine. I can handle it.
Me too.
Okay,
fine.
Well, damn. As long as we're getting down and dirty, never have I ever thrown up McDonald's in the dorm bathrooms. Oh, come on. Nobody. This game doesn't work if you lie. How about this? Never have I ever purged after eating too much junk food.
Eating disorders are nothing to joke about. That's really dangerous.
Well, someone's got to own up to it. Everyone's seen this video by now, right?
Turn it off, Philippe.
Anyone having deja vu? Who wants to fess up?
She said turn it off.
Oh, is it you, new girl?
No, it's not, asshole.
Anyone recognize this toilet? Or this bag of McDonald's? Anyone want to tell us where the fuck the nearest McDonald's is? Because I've been craving that shit.
Turn it off.
It's enough, Philippe.
Look, I don't think anybody's gonna cop to being bulimic in front of a bunch of people.
Any girls here experts at puking?
Stop it, Philippe.
Oh, don't be such a pussy. Don't touch my fucking phone.
You're a sick fuck. Would you make fun of someone who had cancer?
Of course not. People with cancer can't help having cancer.
People who do this can't help it either, you prick.
You're acting strangely defensive.
Someone needs to stand up to your bullshit.
Yeah? Why don't you go throw up about it?
Oh my gosh! Hey, are you bleeding?
I'm not bleeding. She barely scratched me.
That was awesome!
You all saw what just happened. Callie's the girl in the video. You're a campus celeb.
Shut up, you immature little boy.
You should probably go.
Gladly.
Creating a theater production takes a lot of team members to make happen. The work you've seen on stage is in part the result of student designers. Shannon Hickey is costume designer, Elena Martin, set designer, Sarah Mayhew, sound designer, stage manager Tyler Graham up in the booth, working with many technicians and managers is at the helm there. And it's my privilege now to introduce to you Brennan Martignoni, who is our lighting designer, who's going to share a little bit about what that experience was like.
Oh, gee, shucks, me? Really? Wow. Okay. Pretty lights, right? There's a lot of colors and stuff. There you go. Kidding. Basically, like Megan said, I went up to New York with her and Alan and Matt, and we spoke with the playwright, and that was probably one of my favorite parts about the process, because actually a lot of stuff that we talked about with her did end up making it in the show. Like we changed around some scenes, some dialogue got cut and added, and I really love the script version in New York, but I really like this version too, and I actually recently just found the version from New York. I was going through my room and I got up through about 50 pounds of crap. Say what you will. And yeah, I'm interested to go back and see how it's changed, and it's going to keep changing. Like this is just a process for her. It's what is it, like a stepping stone type thing? I guess you would say. Yeah, we're the test area, and so it's going to change from here, and it'll be different when it finally gets out to wherever it's going to be produced. So that's always a fun part, to actually be part of the show and get out in the professional world and see how it's done. And because I also want to be a writer, and it was a really good experience for me. Now, in terms of lights and producing all that, there's this very expensive program called Vectorworks that you got to get for your computer. And we're students, so thank God that we get it for free. But I think it crashed my computer because it's been dead for about 2 weeks. But you know, we got the design done in time, so that's what counts. And basically, because we're in such a small space, it's really a matter of logistics, mostly, and then you get to sort of be creative after that. You got to figure out how many lights can you use, what kind of gels, how much is this going to cost, how much is that going to cost, what's missing, who needs to be where. Like, there's a bunch of different areas on the stage, and I could speak to you for hours after taking the lighting class about how to set all this up, and I'm sure you would be thrilled to hear it, because it's the greatest thing in the world. It really is. I actually do really love all the technical stuff in that, so thank you for teaching me that. Because I'm a media and film studies major, so it's greatly beneficial to me, because everything I do is about pictures, and pictures are about light, and a whole other conversation. I'm getting on a tangent. But really the best part of the process is the people that you get to work with. And I've made numerous mistakes so far. Sorry, Matt, I know you don't want to hear that from a designer, but I've made plenty of mistakes so far. And I'd like to thank my crew, Brian Kendall, Van Looney, Colton Hinderleiter. Especially Colton Hinderleiter, because he's really good at this stuff. He helped me throughout the whole process, because we have to go through and program things on a computer, and it's, man, oh man, I don't know how many clumps of hair I pulled out of my head, but like, I got a haircut afterwards, so you can't tell anymore. It's all good. And yeah, I'd also just like to send a quick thank you to Matt and Alan for letting me participate in this process and letting me go to New York. It was a really great positive experience for me. And yeah, it's good, like Megan said, it's good to know that I can go out in the real world and do this for a living. Because we have someone, Conor McVeigh, who comes back, he tells us all these crazy stories about what he does, and it's nice to see that your education pays off, you know? And yeah, that's essentially what I have to say. I wanted to keep it short for you guys, because I know we've been here a while already. And you should come see the show and see the rest of my light design. It's pretty great, if I do say so myself. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for being here. We invite you to experience the production. We open on Thursday. We play Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 7:30, Sunday at 2:30. Tickets are on sale in the atrium as well as in the box office in the afternoon. So hope you'll join us. We will have talkbacks on Friday night and on Thursday night. Leslie will be leading us on opening night on Thursday, post-show talkback about the production. Thank you all for being here. Have a great day.
As you're leaving, I just wanted to say something. It's important for me to be here today. This is a really interesting hour of my life. I'm only 7 months in at BSC, and I'm learning a lot about who you are and what we are. And 4 things that just came to my mind that were just so reinforced. One is the talented students we have here. I've been at a place with theater. This is amazing acting. Understand the lighting and directing. Superb. Thank you. Faculty. Amazing faculty providing these opportunities to students. Again, that is just something that's so special to me. The third thing is a sense of community and working together, collaboration between these different elements, and doing something important. I'm an old dude. I was working with students, I've been for 4 generations, for 4 decades, starting in the 70s with students with eating disorders. And then this was one of the more powerful things I've seen, this discussion that you've had about what's really going on. We've had this discussion for decade after decade. And it simply keeps evolving into something new. So this was really important to me, and also amazing alum. So I just want to thank everyone for making my day great right now. I just made my day. And again, have a wonderful time. I hope to see you at the play.